In this lesson, I want to demonstrate how to use the switch statement in a function. This particular function is going to determine whether or not a letter passed to it is a vowel. And you might use that in some sort of textual analysis program. So let's get started. Move up to the global area. This is a Boolean function because it's going to return true or false, and we're writing also a predicate function is really what it is vowel. It will take a char letter as its parameter. And then what we're going to do is we're simply going to switch on the letter passed to it, to the function. And we're going to write it like this. We're going to write case A, lowercase a, case A, uppercase A. Now notice that I'm writing these on one line to try to save some space. This could get really long if I did each case clause on a separate line. So I'm going to double up a little bit. So here's lowercase I. Here's uppercase I. Here's lowercase o. Here's uppercase O. Lowercase u. And then uppercase U. If it's lowercase a or capital A or lowercase e or capital E or lowercase I or capital I or lowercase o or capital O or lowercase u or capital U, then return true because it is a vowel of one case or the other. And then break. The break probably doesn't have to be there because the return true will send control back to the main program before we ever hit the break statement, but we'll leave it in anyway just to make it good programming style. And then if it's not one of those letters, then we simply return false. Close the switch and close the function. So now we need a program to test the function, so let's do that right here. First of all, we're going to create a sentence. So it's a string variable sentence. Then we need a char variable to store our letter. We'll call that variable LTR. We need an integer variable to keep track of how many vowels we're going to come across. So we'll call that numVowels and we'll initialize it to 0. Then we're going to prompt the user to enter a sentence. Enter a sentence. And then we use the getLine function, cin with sentence. Now what we want to do is we want to loop through the string like it's an array, and in fact strings are arrays just like a regular array is, so we can loop through it just like we would an array. So we're going to say for int I equals 0, I less than sentence dot size. Size will make sure we don't go beyond the end of the string, plus plus I. Then in the body of the for loop, we take the current letter we're on, which is sentence sub I, and then pass that letter to the isVowel function, and if it's true, plus plus, increment numVowels by 1. And that's all we have to do. Then we'll write out there are numVowels in the sentence, indel semicolon. Make sure that we have everything. Okay. We'll try it with a couple of short sentences so we don't strain our eyes trying to count vowels. Okay, I see what I did. I'm not going to edit out my mistakes because you will be making these also. I forgot the semicolons at the end of those lines. Enter sentence. Now is the time. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vowels. Hit enter. And it says there are 5 vowels in the sentence. Let's do another one. We're all good people. Here I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 vowels in the sentence. So the switch statement via the case clauses allows us to write a clean set of ORs that would look a lot messier in an if statement than they do in the switch statement. So this function looks at a letter, compares it to any of the uppercase or lowercase vowels, returns true if it finds one, and returns false otherwise. And the switch statement makes it look clean, easy to read, and easy to modify, as I had to do when I had to add my colons to the end, much more so than an if-else-if statement probably would in this case. So that finishes up our discussion of the switch statement. In the next lesson, we're going to look at an alternative to the while loop called the do while.